Hi, welcome back to my longboarding tutorial. Today we're going to be discussing trucks and all the pieces and components involved in the construction of a skateboard or longboard truck. Today what I have here is my gravity pintail with the Vandal 2 150s attached, and then what I have here is a completely disassembled twin set so we can get an idea of all the pieces and familiarize with what we're looking at with the written content that was provided. From top to bottom, let's get started. What we're looking at here is a shock pad that sits between the board itself and the truck. This shock pad acts as a buffer for the tension of the hardware, the screws and nuts, and what it does is it takes the pressure off of the wood of the board itself. It is fully possible to mount a set of trucks to a board without a shock pad, but what you're going to do is then the wood is going to be taking all the pressure and you will get cracks and you'll get splintering, and it's just not good. It cannot be understated what a shock pad will do to save your board. Typically they're made out of hard plastic or some form of dense urethane. They don't bend easy, they don't give, but they will help and save your ride. Next, what we're going to look at is the base plate or seat of the truck. Now, this board being a top mount board, shown because this truck is bolted directly to the bottom of the board, the top of the truck. But if we were looking at a drop-through board, for instance, you'd actually see this part from where you were standing. This is the base plate, also the seat of this truck. This is where everything rests and starts to come together. What we're looking at here is the axle and hanger. This is the meat of the truck, I suppose you could say, and it actually has two different measurements involved in it. We have the hanger width and the axle width. Now the hanger width is going to be from here to here, and the axle width is actually going to be from end to end. And these measurements are important to know when choosing your board, because it'll tell you exactly how much clearance you have in terms of turning capability and the distance from the wheel to the board. Again, these are 150, and that's perfect for any top mount board because there's almost zero risk of any kind of catching or biting of the wheel from this board. It's almost physically not possible. What we're looking at here is a big 3/8 inch bolt. This is called the kingpin, and it's what unites the hanger and axle to the base plate or seat, like so. It actually goes directly through the center into the center of the base plate and connects everything. So, those are the main parts. Now, what we also have here is some hardware such as this washer and this slightly larger looking raised at the edges washer. This is would be a pivot cup, and this is just a simple washer you can buy at any hardware store. These would be placed at the points like so, to prevent any movement and play of the bushings in the truck. Now, speaking of bushings, what we have right here are two different sort of bushings. This first one, if you notice its shape, it is slightly wider at its base and it tapers up. This is considered a cone bushing, and its durometer or duro is 85A. what we have here is a barrel bushing, so named for its shape, its uniform height and width throughout, and it's 87A. So it's actually a little bit more dense and thicker than the 85A cone. And the placement of these is going to correspond to their density. So when we're putting our truck together, we're going to want our heavier density bushing to be closer to the board because it's actually going to take the brunt of the weight. And remember, since our board is a top mount, this is going to be closer to the board. And then we're going to take our smaller density bushing and we're going to put it closer to the road, called the roadside and board side bushings respectively. And then go ahead and we can get them aligned. Okay. Now, I didn't put the washer or the pivot cup in there, but this washer would be going right in between here and the barrel bushing. And again, what that does is it's just going to hold that bushing in place, and so that this will not play against the truck and keep it more stable. Of course, we have the hardware for mounting the truck to the board. These screws go through the holes in the base plate like so. And then of course once you run it through the board, the nuts would go ahead on there and secure your truck to the board. Lastly, what I'm going to discuss about the trucks is the degrees. This truck is set at a certain degree. I'm not sure the exact number, but if you notice it's shaped like this, I'd say that's maybe 30 something degrees, low 30s perhaps. And when you talk about degrees, what you're doing is the lower the degrees, the closer the truck is to the ground, and the higher the degree, the farther away it is. That's because as you increase the degrees, it's going to rise. It's going to lift and separate and create more space from the truck to the ground. So your skateboard will actually be taller vertically. Lastly, just to show you, this is where the axle is where the wheels would go through, like so, with their bearings. But we're going to get into that into the next posting when we go over the wheels and also have some bearing maintenance. So this is just a rough crash course in trucks and what you're looking at. Hopefully maybe you learned a little something. Look forward to the next video posting. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.